all have enjoyed a very much deserved few weeks off. In today's broadcast, Kara and I are going to celebrate many accomplishments of the last year and look ahead to upcoming events and opportunities for the 2019-2020 academic year.
Sue, we really do have a lot to celebrate this year, and let's start with the same thing we led off last year's broadcast with, which was our Higher Learning Commission visit.
When our visiting team left Indiana in mid-April, we knew they were incredibly impressed with the work each of you have done at Ivy Tech. In May, we received the draft of their report and had early cause to celebrate. This draft of the report, which is provided to institutions for a review of factual errors, was extremely positive. We met 20 of the 21 criterion, with criterion 4B2, which is largely about assessment of student learning, identified as met with concerns. Kara, I remember talking to you and asking you if that was a B grade or an A grade. You said it was a solid A. Can you explain that?
Absolutely, Sue. It is very rare for institutions to have a report that has no criterion met with concerns, and criterion 4B2 is the most common one found as met with concerns. In my 10 years as a peer corps member, doing over 20 visits and reports for the Higher Learning Commission, I believe I've only been a part of one team that has written a report with absolutely no areas rated as met with concerns. The team also assigned follow-up work to demonstrate that we're making regular and adequate progress in this area, and that follow-up report was embedded into our 4-year assurance review. While the work the team has described for us to summarize is no small task at all, we have a lot of work ahead of us. Teams have many options, including off-cycle reports and focused visits. So this follow-up report was consistent with the message that the team conveyed as they left, that we are all doing excellent work. While we need to really dig in on assessment of student learning, we have a tremendous amount to be proud of with this accomplishment.
Thank you. Well, we received notice that our visit team's recommendation was accepted by the Higher Learning Commission's Institution Actions Council, or IAC, and we can now officially share that Ivy Tech's regional accreditation has been affirmed through 2028-2029. Congratulations, and thanks to each and every one for your hard work and for what you do each and every day at Ivy Tech, but especially over the last 18 months as we were ramping up and preparing for our site visit. Your hard work truly paid off.
Absolutely.
And thank you, Kara, and to Marcus.
Absolutely.
So much work.
And every one of the campus leaders. It was a wonderful opportunity to come together as a college and to celebrate all that we have done. When we get a little further into the fall semester and everybody's had a little bit of a chance to catch their breath, we will distribute the full report as well as summaries of the work ahead of us. We will also be talking about our ongoing work on both the President's Update and the Our College, Your Voices podcast. There will continue to be ways to learn more.
Well, as we begin another academic year, it's important to keep our eye on our strategic plan metrics. These numbers here are from the beginning of August, with the exception of completions, which is up to date to last week. Our fall to spring retention is at 71%, which is above goal. And at the beginning of August, fall to fall retention was at 39%. Realize that that number is still very premature, as enrollments will continue through August. Retention is one of the most important areas where you can make a direct impact on what we do. Our students stay at Ivy Tech because of the value you find in their growth in learning, but also because of the relationship they create with each and every one of you. I might also mention that in terms of those fall-to-fall retentions, we have second 8-week courses.
Absolutely.
That's also an opportunity to bring students back who maybe didn't get enrolled in the first 8 weeks, but we can bring them back in the second. Enrollment continues to lag behind where we would like to have it be. Recall our enrollment is really linked to those 50,000 completions. We know that is what we need as Ivy Tech to contribute to the state of Indiana to ensure our students have great careers and employers have the workforce they need. So in order to do that, we have to see our enrollments increase about 3% a year to a cap of about 125,000. Several campus leadership teams have participated in a series of strategic enrollment management activities over the summer, and we'll discuss more about that work later today. Faculty have an important role in enrollment once students start. The easiest students to enroll are the ones you already have enrolled, and your focus on efforts to retain those students in the classroom and to connect students to the resources you identify they need is critical to their continued enrollment all the way through completion. Another way you can make a direct impact is to take a look around as you start classes next week. Identify those who were enrolled last spring but you have not yet seen. Reach out to them. As I said, encourage them to enroll in 8-week classes. If these students need additional support, please connect them to campus resources or other wraparound services. We'll discuss a new tool a little bit later in our broadcast. Clearly, we do that well in many cases, as our completions as of last Friday were up to 28,001. That is cause to celebrate, so please give yourselves another round of applause. And as we look to our workforce metrics, we'll be finalizing these a bit later in the year. So I'd like to focus on the employee engagement score. First, we thank you for continuing to be honest and forthright as you complete the Amplify survey. Our campus and systems office leadership takes that data very seriously. And as we look onto our metrics 3, we continue to operate on goal 5, we continue to operate from a strong financial position as a college. We will also complete our second year of our community survey, which is measuring goal 6. And we are going to be adding additional metrics as we work together on the development of goal 8, which is our diversity, equity, and belonging. More on that on this broadcast as well as later. During spring semester, we are beginning to develop the strategies that we will use to help accomplish our goal of embracing diversity, equity, and belonging. At the request of the statewide faculty council and on behalf of many of you, we slowed down the development of the tactics to better allow for more faculty input after you had returned this fall. We now have a wet cement version of those strategies developed, and we'll want your help to develop the tactics, both affirmation for the strategies, but tactics for each as well. The strategies are, in their wet cement form, 8.1, eliminate systemic inequities for students. 8.2, leverage leadership's power and privilege to drive positive change. 8.3, implement new structures to ensure faculty and staff diversity. 8.4, increase diversity in leadership. And 8.5, ensure everyone in our college community feels they belong.
And Sue, that commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion also encompasses how we relate to each other. That's one of those goals. And one of the pieces of feedback we got after last year's broadcast was that some of the slides were a little hard to read, and folks wanted to be able to read. So after this broadcast, a little later this week, I will be sending out a link with an email with the presentation as well as the script. We will also include several links and details that we'll reference today so folks can take a closer look at those. That email will include dates when you can participate in tactic development sessions for these strategies. We truly want your voice to be heard as we continue to work, so please consider how you can engage in both the tactic development as well in being involved on one of the tactic teams and other campus initiatives as we improve in the area of diversity, equity, and belonging. Last year, as we gathered for this broadcast, all of you, our faculty, began providing feedback through campus forums on the draft of what has become our student success commitments. We spent last fall refining them based on your feedback, as well as the feedback of our students and our staff members. They were adopted in December by our Board of Trustees and added as a description of the behaviors we all exhibit in order to live out our first value of being student-centered. Sue, last year, I chose to work on developing the first staff commitment of making eye contact, smiling, and saying hello to everyone on campus, and working to make that a regular habit of mine. That included putting my phone down as soon as I got out of my car every day and not picking it up again when I was walking to my car. This year, I'm going to continue that work, but I'm also going to go deeper and grow in Commitment 3, which is engaging with students, faculty, and staff, and to make a personal connection. Is there a commitment you're looking to grow on this year?
There is, Kara. I'm planning to do more to celebrate positive student behaviors and to elevate student successes across the college, as well as externally. That would be aligned with the second commitment. We challenge each of you to find a new way to engage with the commitments this year. Perhaps you could give students a handout on all the commitments and discuss them in your class as a way for your class to establish ground rules for working together. Or you might want to use table tents for each student with their name on it. Not only does it make it easier for you and people like me to remember names, but it also helps students know each other. We also have many resources available to our students, faculty, and staff, and a new tool that launched across the state this summer to help connect everyone to those resources.
Is Ivy Assist. That's right, Sue. Everyone needs a little help sometimes, and Ivy Assist can help you and your students find the resources you need quickly and easily. Ivy Assist connects users to the vast but sometimes hard to navigate social services network so they can find what they need on campus or anywhere in the United States. Ivy Assist can be accessed through the direct link, ivyassist.auntbertha.com, or through the shortcut on My Ivy. A student or faculty or staff member simply needs to enter their zip code, and then you are off and running. Resources are always being added and refined in the site, so you can check back if something isn't available. If you have a great resource that should be included on the site and isn't there, please send that information to your wraparound services team at your campus.
Ivy Assist is an important tool to help ensure we're providing wraparound services to all students as we continue developing into a majority 8-week serving institution. This fall, approximately 50% of the sections you all will teach across the state will be in that 8-week format. Thank you. Last year, over 100 of you took advantage of the mini grants offered for course redevelopment. Thank you for leading the way in redesigning your courses thoughtfully and in a way they can better meet student needs in that 8-week format. And thank you to the faculty and staff campus champions who serve as leaders on each campus as we support 8-week courses.
And Sue, those 100 courses that folks developed last year are in the Ivy Learn Commons, so if anybody wants to check those out, they can do that. We're going to continue the direct support of this transition to 8-week courses through the 2019-2020 academic year. Campus champions will be identified by chancellors again this year. We expect many of those folks to continue. They did a great job. And we also have a new mini grant opportunity available. As Dr. Corey Klossman-Ryan and Dr. Stacy Atkinson, co-leads for 8-week courses here at Ivy Tech, reviewed the campus project plans at the end of spring, they identified 2 high-priority areas of need consistently across the college. Those were faculty professional development and a reimagining of student services for 8-week courses. Each campus is going to be eligible to apply for 1 mini grant in each of these areas for up to $2,000 in each area. Campus champions will be provided with more details on how to apply early in the fall semester.
This fall, we are also launching the alpha of our Ivy Online with 39 courses being offered through this new unit. Over the summer, over 200 faculty from across our state, both full-time and part-time faculty, gathered for 2 days for the first online Instructional Strategies Conference. It was tremendous.
It absolutely was.
Thank you, Kara and team.
Amazing work.
Oh my goodness,
great work. Things.
You can see from this photo that they were involved in many active learning tasks focused on developing new instructional strategies.
The conference really was a great opportunity, Sue. You and I both had an opportunity to be there and to hear from faculty about their questions and concerns, as well as what they're excited about Ivy Online. The team collected all of those questions, and they've also created a link to take in more questions so that they can continue this process. They've assembled what has been received so far into a frequently asked questions webpage. The link for that page is link.ivytech.edu/IO for Ivy Online-FAQ. The courses that will be a part of the spring beta were also shared over the summer. A full list of courses currently in Ivy Online, as well as those moving to this model in the spring, are available at link.ivytech.edu/alpha-CL.
You know, sometimes we forget about how we got started on Ivy Online, but it was really one of our hub teams that said the quality hour gap in our pass rates of our students is too large a drop rate, and we can do better. So it's exciting now, a year and a half later, to see us actually moving in that direction.
It's important to also know that we're going to continue to evaluate this just as we've done with 8-week courses It's another way for us to live out our value of trust and transparency, to make sure we're putting all the data that we gather out so everyone can see how this decision is working and how we're working together to improve it.
And always putting students first.
Absolutely.
Which is why we're doing the work.
That's right.
Online courses are just one way we serve busy students who lead very full and busy lives. Our new mobile app, which began rolling out August 12th, is another way we will continue to serve our students. The Ivy Tech mobile app is available now for free through Google Play and Apple App. Let's try that again.
Okay.
Google Play and Apple App stores. The app is already up to date for several campuses, with new campuses being added each day. I recall that in just one day last week, 1,500 students signed up or put their app on. Additional features will continue to be added to the app. It's also great for faculty and staff to download on each of our mobile devices. I have mine.
I do. And Sue, it has campus maps in it, which you
is
and I
good.
need on all of our campuses. And I actually was able to help a student find something that I didn't know where it was here on the Indianapolis campus the other day.
And we know as new students come in, that
Absolutely.
is one of their questions to us on the first day of class.
Yes.
Is where is my room?
Absolutely.
So now they'll have it on the app. In addition, our physical safety is incredibly important. One of the first priorities of public safety and emergency preparedness, or as we call PSEP, was to unify emergency notification language throughout the state. If you teach or work at multiple campuses, we want to make sure that the language used and procedures during an emergency are consistent. 3 primary changes were made. Instead of lockdown for an active threat or active shooter, we now use secure in place. You may still see lockdown used in the K-12 setting, but in our setting, the call to action of secure in place makes the most sense. A change for some and an addition for others is lock out. This is used when a threat to campus is external. Security will lock external doors, but business may continue as normal inside. Always be prepared that we may have to switch to a secure in place if the threat moves to the campus or into the campus. Finally, we have switched to move to shelter for severe weather. Again, this call to action helps everyone to consider their options and know that the safest shelter may not be where you are presently. For more information about Ivy Alert, including example notification templates, go to ivytech.edu/alert.
PSEP is continuing to coordinate our safety drills across the state, which we know all of our faculty like to try to plan for when we know them in advance in their syllabus. We do have 2 sets of drills that are left for 2019. Fire drills will take place during the week of September 9th. Each building will have a drill during normal business hours and another in the evening. Under Indiana law, we can coordinate fire drills with leadership, but we are not permitted to announce them in advance. So each campus PSEP lead will work with campus leadership to coordinate the drills to take place during the fire drill week. Our fall secure in place drill will be November 13th. As we've done in the past, our first drill will be at 11 a.m. and the evening one will be at 6 p.m. The morning drill will be conducted statewide at 11 a.m. Eastern and 10 a.m. Central, so we conduct that one at the same time across the state. The evening drill will be conducted at local time, so that will depend on the time zone and the time best for the campus. More information about the drills will be sent out to all students, faculty, and staff the week before the drills are conducted. Our 2020 drill schedule will be drafted in the coming months. The statewide public safety team will put together a draft schedule for vetting through the campus PSEP leads. We do anticipate that the annual severe weather drill will be the 3rd week of March. The drill date and time is set by the National Weather Service and is typically announced in February. PSEP will share the date and time just as soon as it is available. The other 2020 dates will be announced once the calendar has been completed. And Sue, I know when I was in the classroom, I used to consider when the fire alarm went off or something else, it was a little bit of a distraction, but in today's day and age, it's really important to take to heart that it's our responsibility to enact these safety procedures. So
it's critical, and I thank also our
Absolutely.
faculty for the inconvenience on behalf of their safety and the safety of our students.
Absolutely. So faculty, regardless of whether one of your classes will be directly impacted by a drill, we ask that you review emergency procedures with every class at the beginning of the course. If you're unsure of the emergency procedures for your specific classroom or building, or if you have any questions, please contact your local PSEP team.
Very good. Now, as we move on to Goal 2, which focuses on enrollment, we know this is an area where we need to continue to grow. As spring term ended, we partnered with Ruffalo Noah Levitt to begin developing campus-based strategic enrollment plans. Strategic enrollment planning is a highly inclusive process where each campus will be creating a holistic picture of enrollment. Campus by campus, we will be developing strategic enrollment plans, which include the first encounter with a recruiter or a dual credit course a student may have back in high school, all the way through to alumni. Each plan will have a framework to use as a guide to connect our recruitment, retention, quadrant work, and completion work across the campus. The plans will be developed locally in a highly inclusive process, so please consider serving on a working group when the time comes on your campus. The faculty voice is critical at each campus as they determine how best to recruit and retain our future alumni. We have 4 campuses which started this process in May. That includes Evansville, Fort Wayne, Indianapolis, and Valparaiso. And we will now be taking a staggered approach beginning this September to roll out across our remaining campuses.
And we've seen some exciting things out of those.
Yes, we have.
And I can't wait for other folks to begin to see that work as well.
And I would say we see green shoots
Yes.
in our enrollment.
Yep.
Even as of this fall, we have a number of campuses up.
Absolutely.
Overall, FTE is up
Yes.
a little bit.
Yep.
And we know with more 8-week courses, we have many more opportunities second 8 weeks. But the work needs to be very, very diligent and strategic,
Right.
which is where we're moving.
Right. And while it's not directly related to enrollment, we know that as we look at our completion number, which is already above goal at 28,001, that we have not yet been able to add certifications into that. So we have about 7,000 certifications that we believe will be ready to say are finalized and we can add in the next year. And yet we still have more work to do in the area of completions. Over the summer, Dr. Katie Jenner, who served as VP of K-14 Strategy, was asked to take on a new role with the Governor's Office and to serve as the Special Advisor to the Governor for Education.
Now, we're sad about that,
We
but
are.
we're happy for the Governor and the state of Indiana.
Absolutely.
She will do a very fine job.
Absolutely. We are really excited to continue to work with Katie in this new role serving our state. We both had the opportunity just to see her last week. She seems to be doing well. She worked with our faculty and staff, with all of you across the state, to construct a real strategy for a seamless K-14 system in Indiana, so that we do not lose momentum in this important area for Ivy Tech and for the state of Indiana, for Hoosier families. Dr. Rebecca Ray Schulte from Batesville, agreed to serve as acting VP for K-14 while a search is underway for the new VP of K-14 initiatives. Dr. Ray Schulte and the team are continuing to implement the strategy, which is based on the fundamental principle that every student should graduate high school either as employable in a pathway to economic self-sufficiency or enrolled in a post-secondary program. During the next academic year, the college will be working to continue to implement the recommendations from the Governor's Workforce Cabinet to ensure that there are opportunities for backwards design from industry back to post-secondary here at Ivy Tech, all the way down into the high school space. This work will begin with a prioritized group of programs, and specific information on that work will be shared with the impacted curriculum committees at their fall meetings.
As you and I have had the opportunity to visit commencement ceremonies around the state, it is so exciting to talk with high school students who are graduating from college before they graduate from high school. This work in the K-14 space will involve a strategic review of the Ivy Tech Department of Education crosswalk, both for courses to be added as well as courses to be removed, where a course may not lead to a completion for a student. We want to eliminate so-called random acts of dual credit. Finally, we will be asking curriculum committees to consider strategies to aid in transfer to Ivy Tech upon graduation from high school.
Absolutely. And Sue, one of our curriculum committees, got a little bit of a head start on this work. Yep, there we go. Hang on. We'll let the slide catch up with us. There we go. And that is our education curriculum committee. As our communities struggle with a teacher shortage, High schools want opportunities to grow their own teachers. We do that here at Ivy Tech. We grow many of our own faculty. We love it when a faculty member comes back to us who's an alumni of Ivy Tech, and high schools want that opportunity too. In order to allow high school students the opportunity to begin their education to become a teacher while in high school, the Education Curriculum Committee designed a technical certificate that will stack into the transfer as a junior program in education. And it will prepare students to sit for the Parapro assessment so that they can actually earn while they learn. And it is going to allow us to help Ivy Tech support schools and the need that they have for teachers as we work together to create a better citizenry.
It's a great need across our state right now, and very excited about this new TC. Well, when we visited campuses in the spring semester on the President Provost Tour, we discussed the importance of advising and the college's move to required advising. The college's advising model, which provides a student a network with both a professional advisor as well as a faculty advisor, provides many opportunities for students to connect and develop relationships with both faculty and staff at the college. Susan Hawkins Wilding gave a presentation to the State Board on advising over the summer, and I really appreciated the comment she made that I think is important for all of us to hear. Required advising is far more about relationship than that requirement. Advising by both professional advisors and faculty advisors is a key part of the college's enrollment and retention plans. Remember, it is easier to keep the students we already have by retaining them each term and ensuring they enroll for the next term. We want to make sure all students are also working against an academic plan to completion. Our goal for spring 2020 term is that 75% of our students will have those academic plans to completion. Additionally, we want 75% of our students to have met with an academic advisor at least once per semester. Students are retained, as we see in this graph, 4% higher when they meet with an advisor at least one time. Again, thanks to our advisors who do such amazing work and are working extremely hard as we speak.
We know many of them are not watching this right now.
But it is important that our students are with them to have that academic plan to completion as well as the relationship.
Absolutely. And Sue, you and I have talked many times about the need to help students enroll earlier and to change their behavior of waiting to the last minute to enroll. One of the many steps that we need to take in that is implementing required advising. So as we visited the campuses last year, we talked about this, and we now are moving forward with required advising for the spring term. All students will have a PIN placed on their account about 1 month prior to the beginning of spring enrollment. Students will receive automated emails in waves, starting with those closest to completion, driving them to see their advisor. Advisors will review the academic plans, those ones that are driving them all the way to completion, and may send emails with PINs to those students who have accurate and up-to-date completion plans and who are on their plan. For those students who do need to meet with their advisor, many options exist, such as phone, email, and in-person sessions.
You know, I'm excited because our app will also provide us another way to push those announcements out to our students to ensure, for those who don't read their emails.
Yes.
So, as we move on, one of the hallmarks of Ivy Tech is the opportunities for students to gain hands-on experience through internships, externships, and clinicals. Through applied learning projects, even more students can have opportunities to put theory into practice in real-world settings. Applied learning is a co-curricular activity used to enhance a topic or skill learned in the classroom. Adding an applied learning activity to your class may also give you the opportunity to get support from the Student Life team at your campus. Your campus Student Life officer is a great resource on how to get started. They may also have funding available to support this activity.
Absolutely. Applied learning projects can take on a variety of forms. A few of these might include factory and workplace tours, poster presentations by students at professional conferences, putting on a speaker event, or hosting a workshop, and other educational trips and student service learning projects. And Sue, you and I and your husband Jim got the opportunity to see applied learning in action on Saturday when we visited with students and their faculty members, Dr. Al Rubenstein and Mrs. Joanna Green from Indianapolis and Anderson. They have collaborated this summer on a 2-week immersion biology class that's going to wrap up on Saturday, just ahead of us. And this 2-week summer intensive course Let me try that again. This 2-week summer intensive course included a myriad of field experiences, which the students were really excited about.
They were jazzed.
They were. They had a great time. And it's been hosted at Conner Prairie Farms. This is not the first year for the course, but it's the first time to have it here in Indianapolis, which has opened it up to a wider array of students. Students have also done quizzes, exams, and homework. They took an exam on their second morning of class, right at 8 a.m., and they've done a great job. I think it is fair to say that when they have their final culminating activity this coming Saturday, the students they're going to have a great story to tell.
They have great stories to tell already, including wearing their waders in the lake where they zapped the fish so they could
measure them.
So what a great, and working with IDEM and doing that. So very applied, certainly experiences our students would probably never get any other way.
Absolutely.
Kudos to Dr. Rubenstein and Mrs. Green. They've just done, Joanna and Al have done a wonderful job.
They have, absolutely.
So, as I shared during our April and June President's updates, we have a new vision for how we deliver career development at the college. After a year of research, help from Ascend Indiana, we have developed a plan involving how we will launch the initial rollout of the Career Coaching and Employer Connections teams this fall on 5 campuses. The Alpha campuses are Indianapolis, Fort Wayne, Kokomo, Sellersburg, and Madison. There's a potential 6. South Bend Elkhart has a new chancellor we announced a week ago, Chancellor Dr. David Balkin. We're going to give him time to get his legs under and see if or when they'd like to move forward as well. These campuses will work closely with systems office teams to document processes and identify lessons learned. All of this will be shared with future campuses as we expand this new model across the state over the next 4 years.
All faculty members, all of you, have the opportunity to tie student learning to their career opportunities and aspirations. The Alpha Campus faculty will also play a pivotal role in identifying ways to provide even more hands-on and workplace options for student learning. As we turn now to our 5th goal of focusing on our employee, we're going to begin again where we started last year, which is in the development of an academic freedom statement. The academic, and I'm going to read a portion of a letter that was written by Dr. Emily Bobo and I that will be directed to all faculty a little bit later in this week, and so you'll get to see the full text of that letter a bit later. The Academic Freedom Task Force is comprised of 29 volunteer faculty from all 19 campuses, as well as myself, and it is co-chaired by Emily and I. As you may know, Ivy Tech Community College does not currently have an academic freedom statement, even though we already practice many of these freedoms, and one can find echoes of a statement hidden within various policies of our ASOM. But academic freedom is standard practice for our industry. Most colleges and universities have an academic freedom statement and policies to undergird it. Sue and I have both felt that this was important, and given the college's recent commitment to shared governance through the creation of state and campus-wide faculty councils, this seemed like the right time to take this next step and develop our own statement. Working over the summer of 2019, the task force has drafted an academic freedom statement. It is a value statement that will live in the ASOM and guide future policies, as well as revision of current policies that enact and protect academic freedom at Ivy Tech. This statement is 100% faculty developed. The Academic Freedom Task Force has composed the draft statement, and all faculty will be invited to provide feedback on it. Some of you might actually be asked to provide feedback on it this week in some of the sessions that are happening on campuses. After that feedback is gathered, chancellors and vice chancellors of academic affairs will also be invited to provide feedback, but all revisions will be made by the Academic Freedom Task Force, and the final statement will be voted on and approved by the statewide faculty council. As I indicated, you will have an opportunity, perhaps through your campus council or the statewide council, to provide feedback. All of that feedback is due October 1st. We also have a form where anyone can provide feedback if they wish to do so once the statement is distributed. It's link.ivytech.edu/afdoc. The goal is to have this completed at the end of fall semester so that in spring 2020 that statement can go into effect. It's been a lot of work and a lot of fun, Sue, over the summer. I think I've told you this many times, that the teams had a lot of really vulnerable conversations, and several of them sat down on the podcast, which we'll talk about in a minute, and had a good conversation. So I direct folks to take a listen to that. It's a very good idea.
And it is hard work. It's challenging. It's thinking about how do we create appropriate academic freedom amidst the tasks we have to accomplish as a college
and to serve our state. Right.
Absolutely.
As we end each academic year, we take a moment to recognize some of you, our outstanding faculty. This year, though, we added a little bit of recognition. We recognize not only our President's Award and Founders Award winners, we also recognize those faculty who are beginning this academic year with the rank of full professor. This new recognition was actually suggested by several of your colleagues, and it honors the achievement of reaching the highest level of professional rank for faculty at Ivy Tech. We will also be releasing a press release in the next week to highlight those of you who have newly joined this rank.
Kara, this is an area we realize we have some catching up to do, because we have many faculty who have previously earned that rank of full professor, but they have not been formally honored in the way we were able to do our most recent faculty. So we are in the beginning stages of planning an event to honor those faculty with that previous rank, and stay tuned.
That's right. There will be more information soon. Sue, I know the answer to this question, but have you listened to the latest episode of the college's podcast, Our College of Voices?
I did this weekend. It was excellent. Dr. Russ Baker hosted a wonderful conversation among 5 faculty: Alex Antic, Colette Emery, Julius Edwards, Aaron Lehman, and Tony Rainey. These 5 faculty shared their experiences and insights about how we can ensure we are creating an environment that promotes diversity, equity, and belonging. Goal 8, our new goal 8, in our classrooms, while helping our students experience and value diversity. They also shared ways they believe we as a college can do more in promoting, recruiting, and genuinely celebrating diversity. I want to thank Russ, Alex, Colette, Julius, Aaron, and Tony for being willing to hold us accountable in the future to become an even better exemplar of diversity, equity, and belonging in a country and state that has some progress to make towards creating a truly equitable world where each person can achieve their own human potential. And you and Russ, I understand, plan to continue the conversation in future episodes. Is that correct?
It is, Sue. And I want to commend Russ. He came with an idea, and sometimes when you come to me with an idea, you get a little more work. And so he volunteered to actually host the episode. He did a fantastic
great job.
He really did. Russ will reconvene this panel a few more times over the year. He invited anyone who has questions that they would like to hear the panel discuss to submit those for consideration. This is one of many ways we want to see the podcast embrace more of our community this year. We will soon be announcing details for our book club, which this fall will be reading Brene Brown's book, Dare to Lead, as well as a project that I'm personally very excited about, and a couple of you have already reached out to say you're excited about as well, which is a series of discussions on the pedagogy of Hogwarts. I happen to know that a large number of our faculty and staff are Harry Potter fans, as am I, and we're going to use the Potter books as a way to have what I imagine are going to be some fun conversations about teaching styles and practices. But before we dig into those projects, there's a little problem that we have to tackle, and that is a lot of people simply do not know how to listen to a podcast. Russ actually inspired this idea too. He did not know that, but the best way to gain new listeners is to have existing listeners share the gift of podcasts with a friend and to show them how to subscribe. So to encourage each of you who have already discovered the joy of podcasts, we want you to share it with your colleagues. I'm going to do something just a little bit special this fall. Beginning today through September 30th, if you show a colleague how to subscribe to a podcast, just take a quick selfie together and I will make a $1 donation to your campus's Circle of Ivy for each new subscriber from your campus. Now, we can't normally track who subscribes from what campus, so you do have to take one additional step to make this happen so I know which campuses should get the money. Upload the photo and fill out the quick form, which just asks for your names and campus, to link.ivytech.edu/givepod. I will be donating up to $500 of my own money split across our campuses to increase dollars available for Circle of Ivy grants this fall. And Circle of Ivy is a very important part of our foundation, and it's very near and dear to my heart. If your photos get especially creative, or perhaps if you share the gift of podcast more than anyone else, there might be a couple of additional special prizes sent directly to you. So remember that sharing is caring, and share the gift of podcast with your colleagues.
Thank you, Kara. That's very generous. Circle of Ivy is one great way to support our foundation and to help the college meet Goal 6, our financial goal. Circle of Ivy directly gives back to our students when you, our faculty and staff, take the opportunity to apply for a grant from a classroom project or other activity in any of these 4 funding areas: school and instructional supplies, completion funds, emergency funds, or we call barrier busting dollars,
Right.
and educational travel funds. Circle of Ivy applications for this year's funding cycle were distributed by mail on August the 11th, so check your email or talk with your campus development team to get access to that application.
Absolutely. Another big transition that occurred over the summer was our transition to Barnes & Noble as our bookstore partner. During the transition between vendors, fall adoptions were a huge undertaking that involved many people at the campus and systems level. I know several of our faculty got asked to take a look at those in between spring and summer terms. We really appreciate you doing that off cycle. We know that was an intense inconvenience. But we want to thank everyone who assisted by double, triple, and quadruple checking, because as we all know, we want our students to have the right materials in class when they join us on Monday. All of the bookstores are now open. Bookstore contact information has been provided to each of your campuses, primarily through the Vice Chancellors for Academic Affairs. If you still need this, feel free to contact your Vice Chancellor for Academic Affairs or Rachel Kartz. I'll talk a little bit more about Rachel in just a second if you don't know her. Faculty can now work directly with their bookstore managers as well regarding adoptions and questions. All but one of our bookstore managers stayed on with Barnes & Noble, which is exceptional. It really is. So while they come with a wealth of Ivy Tech knowledge, they are still learning the new Barnes & Noble way of service. So please work with your bookstore colleagues in a graceful manner and respect that this is an enormous transition for them. In a proactive effort to respond to any hiccups due to the transition, Barnes & Noble, or because we always make everything to an acronym, B&C is what we call them. B&C is offering free shipping to students for fall. This is one example of the customer service mindset that the B&C team brings to Ivy Tech. The transition will continue throughout the academic year as B&C learns more about Ivy Tech and we learn more about them. Many ongoing conversations are happening, conversations that you might be interested in, according to Rachel, who's the Dean of Arts, Sciences, and Education for the Indianapolis campus and was kind enough to serve as the academic lead for this Barnes & Noble transition. One of those things that she thought you might be really interested in is their new adoption portal. She says it's very exciting and really is a great tool. Faculty, please do continue to reach out to Rachel if you have comments, questions, or concerns. Her email address is here on the slide. It's rkartz, K-A-R-T-Z, at Ivy Tech. Rachel probably had no idea how much work she was agreeing to when I asked her to serve as the academic lead, and she has done a truly phenomenal job. Rachel, I cannot thank you enough for everything you've done this summer to help with this transition.
Yes, thank you, Rachel. Well, our bookstore is one of many areas where we have to consider how we secure student, employee, and college data. Over the last 6 months, Ivy Tech has been the target of 2 different cyber breaches that would have been more than $1 million each if they had been successful. While neither were successful, we identified that email phishing, human error, and a lack of controls all played a part.
Absolutely.
These 2 large-scale attacks are on top of many smaller attacks. We must continue to be vigilant, and additional activities are underway to protect our data. We will be continuing our cybersecurity training during the year, and we have certainly embraced something called 2-factor authentication as an additional step, first in finance and HR, and now across our entire employee community.
That's right, Sue. The 2-factor authentication tool, which is called Duo, is extremely easy to use. All faculty and staff will now need to use your password, as you always have, as well as one other method. Thomas Reby and Tom Taylor are going to be on this Thursday's episode of the podcast. Right. They explained a little bit about this to me. It's something you know, which is your password. It's something you have, which is your cell phone typically. That's what 2-factor authentication means. And you just enter a code or have a push notification sent to your phone. It is really easy to use. And you'll need that when you're logging into your email and some of our other Ivy Tech systems when you are not on Ivy Tech's network. And Sue, I'll just say, I know some people consider these an inconvenience, but I've used two-factor authentication everywhere that it's available in my life, and it's a really good security step for everyone to take for both Ivy text data as well as your own personal data.
Yeah, it is not only best practice, it's a critical practice, and we have to adopt it. So
Absolutely.
thank you, faculty and staff, in advance. I know it's an inconvenience for those of us who are old timers and don't think we need all these extra steps, but it's critically important.
It's just like locking the door to your house.
Correct.
It's something you have to do nowadays.
Well, as we move on into Goal 7, many recall that 2 years ago we redid our campus structures and including sizing our campuses so we would resource them correctly. That has helped us better serve our communities across the state. This methodology considers service area populations and jobs in that area, as well as campus performance in important metrics like enrollment and completions. We review this data every year to identify campuses that may be classified as rising or falling to the next level. Michigan City was identified as falling for these 2 years. As a result, over the summer, Michigan City was reclassified as a site, which is now linked to our Valparaiso campus, which is a C1. Our Michigan City site will continue, and it will serve its community, we think, even better, while campus level leadership will be provided by the Valparaiso campus. Now, even as we speak, the new Vice Chancellor is going to be announced today, Jack Schoenfelder, who has previously served as interim twice on that campus.
And he is a faculty member
in Michigan City. Yes, he is. Michigan City will also maintain a member on faculty council throughout this academic year, and the new structure will allow more resources to be devoted to students and programs rather than serving as a separate leadership structure. We are also then back to our structure. We are finalizing the systems office restructure, which took place this summer. The structure identified has allowed us to meet several objectives that were summarized here on the slide, including elevating and building out Goal 8, equity, diversity, and belonging. We've aligned multiple functions for a more comprehensive academic affairs. I think you'll speak to that. We place structure around Strategic Plan Goal 2, recruitment and enrollment, within the operations team to make sure we are attending to an area of challenge for us. We aligned the new career coaching and employer connections from the Strategic Plan Goal 4 within what now is called the Workforce and Career function, and we provided Chancellor's direct report to the President and a voice on the President's campus. Finally, we created a broader business affairs function beyond finance. I want to thank everyone for their patience as systems office team has done this restructure. As you all know from 2 years ago, it's work and it's a lot of change, and just know that our focus is in better serving our campuses in order to better serve our students, our communities, our employers, and state.
Absolutely. And Sue, I'm one of those areas. My area is one that went through some changes. So this is a copy of the slide, and this is available on My Ivy if you have not seen this yet. It goes through the restructure. So now we have K-12 initiatives as well as the traditional academic affairs function, which includes assurance of learning through accreditation as well as curriculum and assessment. Student success, Dr. Corey Klossman-Ryan has joined our team, as well as Kat Stremecki in student life. And our registrar and student records area, including our new student records hub, which is now processing transcripts and all of the evaluation
and doing great work.
They're doing a fantastic work, as well as Ivy Online, which of course has gone through a tremendous amount of changes over the summer. And I'm sure that each of you on your campuses will be talking about the new educational technology teams on your campuses and how they can better serve you each and every day as we move forward together. So it's a time of transition. I'm so excited with my team, and they're doing a great job coming together. It's really great to have everybody together again.
All right.
Very good. So Sue, you and I are back out on the road again to 18 campuses for our President Provost Tour. We're not even going to try to put them all in spring this year.
No.
We're going to spread these out across the year. I think our first one is coming up in mid-September. I think it's to Terre Haute, if I remember the schedule correctly. So we are looking forward to being out on campus and seeing all of you. And I encourage you, if there are things going on your campuses please reach out and tell us about them. I know you and I both have the tendency to say yes if we can. It's something about us that we just want to be able to be there and be involved. So
I think
do
you've
that.
also given them a choice of how they want these
I
conducted
have,
this
that's
year.
right.
So if you don't want to see the traditional
Yep.
dog and pony show we do with
Yep.
too many slides,
Yep.
you have some options.
Absolutely. So each campus is asked through their Vice Chancellor for Academic Affairs to tell us whether they'd like to do the dog and pony show for us. So we want to know what you're proud of on your campus. You can actually present that to us, or we can do the traditional slide deck and conversation. We're happy to do that as well. So each of your Vice Chancellors for Academic Affairs will be talking about that a little bit more with you.
And the one thing I hope will continue is the candid conversations
Absolutely.
we have.
Right.
It really is your meeting.
It is.
Faculty, we're happy to be there, and
Absolutely.
it informs us in ways and helps us make better decisions
Right.
moving forward as we
Right.
try to steward this college.
Absolutely, definitely. Well, Sue, it's time for us to wrap up and thank everyone for all the work they're doing this year. I want to thank everyone for just taking time. I hope you enjoyed the 2 extra days of break that you had this year. You're coming back on Monday this year. I saw that in my Facebook timeline. It was nice to know that based on the feedback from last year's tour, we were able to put that into place through our campus leadership. It's always changing here at Ivy Tech. There's never a lack of change, and we just thank all of you for being graceful with one another and with us, and knowing that we're just trying to make Ivy Tech better for each of you, for our students, and for our state.
And just a sincere thank you, faculty, for all you do. There is much for us to achieving the mission of Ivy Tech for the state of Indiana, but again, most importantly, ensuring Hoosiers have great futures, that our communities can thrive, that our economy is strong, and that our state is one that will continue to thrive into the future. So thank you as you come back. We wish you well,
Absolutely.
and we look forward to the year ahead.
Very good.